Coming up on Cronkite News, how California is supporting people's rights to abortion access, even if they don't live there.
Plus, how one organization is helping pregnant people get healthy birth outcomes.
Later on Break It Down, we'll take a look at some of the myths and stereotypes that encircle the millennial generation.
Cronkite News starts now.
Good evening, and welcome to Cronkite News on Arizona PBS. I'm Connor Cox.
And I'm Kyle Betts. Thank you for joining us. In a response to increased pressure, President Joe Biden signed an executive order to help protect abortion access.
The executive order directs HHS to identify ways to expand access to reproductive health services, like IUDs, birth control pills, emergency contraception. And equally important, this executive order protects patient privacy and access to information.
While this executive order was an important step, Biden called on Congress to do its part to protect abortion rights. But because there are not enough Senate votes to accomplish it, he made sure to stress the importance of voting in the upcoming election. California is stepping into the role of a safe haven state for women seeking an abortion. Cronkite News reporter Emily Miranda in Los Angeles explains how Arizona women are turning next door for assistance.
16,000 is how many more out-of-state abortion seekers California could soon see each year, according to a UCLA law study. 16,000. 50% of that number is expected from Arizona.
Planned Parenthood of Orange and San Bernardino counties is one provider saying they are already seeing an increase in phone calls. Calls rose 900% following the Supreme Court decision. As a way to help, Planned Parenthood created the Abortion Aid Program. The program increases the number of abortion appointments, doctors, and adds a private health navigator. The navigator helps out-of-state individuals who are not able to cover travel costs.
Who this is really going to impact are women with lower income and people who are undocumented and all people of color, really. That's what's so heartbreaking about this.
People who do not have the money must find time off work and childcare. Transportation time and costs must also be considered. Some advocates say trouble accessing resources causes some women to seek out unsafe clinics or dangerous home remedies. On a UCLA School of Law webinar, California State Senator Sidney Kamlager said more needs to be done to provide access.
Have an obligation to create an underground railroad for reproductive freedom that will allow women of all races, of all ethnicities, of all religions to be able to make decisions about their body.
In Arizona, a 15-week abortion ban is set to take effect in September. The complex landscape has left providers unsure what services they can make available. As a result, Planned Parenthood Arizona has stopped abortion services, and California officials say Arizonans are making their way here.
We will continue to lead with those values by protecting abortion access and serving as a haven for anyone in this country needing an abortion.
Planned Parenthood says they will fight for other states.
We're angry, and we're going to fight like hell to get our rights back.
Oregon, Washington, and New Mexico have joined California in helping get out-of-state individuals the abortion care that they seek. In Los Angeles, Emily Miranda, Cronkite News.
The last day to submit issues for the November ballot was yesterday, and there's one pressing issue voters won't be seeing. The advocacy group Arizonians for Reproductive Freedom announced they will not be submitting their petition signatures, which they've been gathering since May. Less than half of the signatures needed to get on the ballot were gathered, and without court intervention, Arizona will be able to enforce its territorial-era ban on abortion unless the issue gets on the ballot in 2024. The Arizona Department of Health Services is partnering with an effort called Count the Kicks to combat stillbirths in the state. Cronkite News health reporter Milan Andrade takes a closer look at how the campaign would help improve birth outcomes.
Count the Kicks educates expectant mothers about how to track their baby's movements inside the womb. The effort grew out of the nonprofit Healthy Birthday, started by 5 mothers who all lost their daughters to stillbirth or infant death.
During her second pregnancy, Sean Stamillis started having contractions and thought she was going into labor. But what happened next is something no mother should ever have to endure.
the pain and rage of losing him was, consuming for a while. It's always still emotional. My almost 14-year-old was just over 2 at the time. So, in some ways it helped that, I had this beautiful little child that I had to get up and take care of every day.
After experiencing a rare complication, Sumilis lost her baby, a boy named Zachary. 12 years later, she found her passion in helping other pregnant women avoid stillbirth.
I just made a conscious choice that I wanted to feel better, first of all, that I wanted to embrace life, and I wanted to help others in my son's name.
Today, Sumilis works with a national campaign called Count the Kicks to improve birth outcomes through education, advocacy, and support. The campaign provides a free app or paper chart to help expectant moms track their baby's movements during the 3rd trimester.
That change in movement is really an important warning sign, something that expectant parents should be paying attention to and speaking up if their baby's movement changes so that they can help ensure that their baby has a healthy birthday.
The materials on the Count the Kicks website are available for OBGYNs, midwives, doulas, and other healthcare providers.
We try to reach expectant parents really in as many places as we possibly can. We also have printed educational materials that are available to order on our website.
Stillbirths have decreased nationally in the last 15 years, but Black, Hispanic, and Indigenous women are among the most at risk. Any unusual changes in fetal movement could mean there's a problem, and Sumilis says women should not hesitate to contact a doctor.
If you notice a change, any type of change in your baby's pattern, you need to be seen. Please don't wait till the next day. You need to be seen.
Healthcare providers and expectant moms can order free Count the Kicks materials or download the app at counttthekicks.org. In the newsroom, Milan Andrade, Cronkite News.
Triple-digit heat is taking its toll here in the Valley. Let's check in with Samir Mala in the Weather Center to see what we can expect for the week.
Thank you, everyone. As we take a look at the temperatures and weather over the next 48 to 72 hours this upcoming weekend, we're going to see some mostly sunny skies in and around the Arizona area. Slight chance of pop-up thunderstorms in the southeastern region on Saturday and on Sunday afternoons, but then clearing up on Monday. What does that mean in terms of temperatures? It's going to be 114 in Bullhead City, 113 here in Phoenix, but in higher elevations, it's going to be cooler, 87 in Flagstaff and 96 in Tombstone. And then in terms of temperatures in the valley, temperatures are all going to be in the triple digits. So remember to stay hydrated and cool tomorrow. And we're going to see some heat alerts in the Phoenix and southwestern portions of Arizona and in the Grand Canyon as well. As we take a look at the 8-day forecast, it's going to remain in the triple digits this upcoming weekend and going to stay that way for the next 5 days. This is Samir Mullah from the Cronkite Weather Center. Back over to you guys.
The Phoenix Mercury hosted the New York Liberty last night at the Footprint Center, and it was the return of Sandy Brondello. While the Mercury made sure they beat their former coach, they also gave her a warm reception. Cronkite News reporter Ruby Aurora was there for the homecoming.
Sandy Brondello was welcomed home last night as the current Liberty coach stepped on the court at Footprint Center for the first time since leaving the Mercury last year. No one appreciated her more than her former players.
I appreciate Sandy. She was the first coach to actually really give me a chance and give me some minutes and productive. And if it wasn't for her, I don't think I would still be in the league right now. So thank you, Sandy.
I have great relationships with the players, and obviously I coach with a different team, but I'm always rooting for them and wishing the best for them.
Sky was literally the limit, and it was nothing but love as the Phoenix Mercury defeated their former head coach Sandy Brondello and New York Liberty 84-81.
It's great to have her back here. She's such a great coach and did a lot of great things for the organization. But for us, it's another game. We got to go to battle. Outside feelings, you have to go and compete.
Diana Taurasi scored 23 points on the night and became the first WNBA player in history to make 3,000 field goals, a feat she said only took 18 years, 10 of those years of which she thanked Brondello for her guidance.
She's the most giving, the most humble coach I've ever been around. And the one thing I appreciated the most about her is she treated everyone the same. And I think that goes a long way. for humanity. And Sandy does that every single day to everyone.
The win was a nice cap on the first half of the season as the Mercury have 5 days off for the All-Star break. In Phoenix, Ruby Aroda, Cronkite News.
Coming up after the break, we'll take you into the Inkwell in Santa Monica and introduce you to Nick Gabaldon, a surfer who changed the way many people thought of diversity in the lineup.
Okay, let's go right up in here and start having some fun.
Such a thrill to be able to do this.
Recreation is the gateway drug to conservation.
How do you create that perfect straight edge? You can do anything. History is today. Chasing the American dream.
Experience something personal.
A place of imagination.
I can go anywhere I want to go.
You guys are just gonna love it.
An entertainment experience unlike anything.
There's something for everyone with Passport on the PBS Video app.
On Masterpiece Mystery.
Evil can find its roots so easily in an English village.
The landscape of criminal investigation.
Murder, almost certainly.
Modern policing methods.
We endeavor to do our best.
We're working hard to solve this case.
And to make sure justice gets done.
It's a new adventure.
And the rest, as they say, is mystery.
I can hardly wait.
Art was one of the powers that made life life. I think we all believed that.
This is a real life story of a real live person.
This was my only connection to my culture.
Fight the power.
Our stories deserve to be heard.
You're passionate and you respect your heritage. That is a perfect recipe.
Now is the time for the Reformation. Now is the time to rebuild the nation.
That's amazing.
You're making me cry.
Some girls can go out there and just steal a spotlight.
This is the moment that we've all been waiting for.
Everyone has something to contribute to humanity. The arts are the thing that does that.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Welcome back. I'm Madison Thomas with your Cronkite Sports Report from Los Angeles. I'm standing in Santa Monica at a place that was once known as the Inkwell. It was the only part of the beach where African Americans once felt safe to gather. Cronkite News reporter Liam Barrett spent a day at the beach where surfers celebrated a man who broke the color barrier in their sport.
So thank you for joining us to celebrate Nick.
Nick Gabaldon is celebrated as the first Black and Latino surfer in Los Angeles. The Santa Monica native grew up in a time when people of color could only go to a beach locals called the Inkwell. Marion Clark teaches inner city kids to surf. She says Gabaldon's story still has an effect on the community.
I think it's so important that we acknowledge the legacy of segregation in Los Angeles among the surf community, like among people of color and the waterline, and we can do something about that.
This year marks the 10th Nick Gabaldon Day. Jeff Williams says the Black Surfer Collective started the tradition because they needed a unifying figure.
There were more severe race riots between the Blacks and Latinos, and I was like, well, this is the perfect way to get the communities together around a common person that we can all identify with.
Gabaldon's story inspires many to come to the beach and feel like they belong.
Surfing is not a sport where we tend to see a lot of people of color, right? And for a long time, it felt like we didn't maybe have permission to partake in that. And so knowing that, there was somebody around in the 50s, that was surfing, it kind of gives us permission to be like, oh, this is something for us to do.
According to the latest census, more than 70% of people in Los Angeles are people of color. Yet according to surf organizations like Color the Water, the surf community is still white dominated. With these celebrations, they continue Gabaldon's legacy of diversifying the water. In Santa Monica, Liam Barrett, Cronkite News.
Surf bus director Marion Clark says Nick Gabaldon Day embodies what diversity in the sports community should look like. What started as one person looking to meet others in the LGBTQ+ community has turned into a national organization that aims to create a supportive and inclusive sports environment. I was at one of their most recent events in Los Angeles. Kickball on a Sunday afternoon. The Varsity Gay League offers game after game like this one.
What we as an organization try to keep in forefront is everyone's welcome. And when we say that, we mean it.
Founder Will Hackner saw a need in his own life to socialize with others in his community.
I myself was not meeting people. I wasn't having the best of times. I felt it was all about drinking and partying, and I was just like, I want to have fun.
Phoenix League manager Wes Scruggs grew up liking sports, but says the environment wasn't always positive for him.
Super, hyper masculinity and stuff, like toxicity, like, as someone who's trying to figure out their sexuality and growing up, it's like, oh gosh, okay, I guess that's not like good.
Hackner was not into sports growing up.
I was a bullied kid, horribly bullied, tragically bullied, terrified of sports. I was small, so I was not a sports guy. However, as I grew up and got older, I realized that there was a lot of benefit to sports.
15 years ago, Hackner planned what became their first event.
Played capture the flag at a park. 50 people showed up, and we said, wow, there must be something here. There's a kernel of something, and that put us sort of off to the races.
The environment here is lighthearted and positive. It is obvious that everyone is just here to have a good time. The Varsity Gay League has now grown nationally, with, they say, more than 40,000 athletes, including 400 in Phoenix. In Los Angeles, Madison Thomas, Cronkite News. The Varsity Gay League says everyone is welcome in their leagues, even if you are not part of the LGBTQ+ community. That's all for your Cronkite Sports Report from Los Angeles. Back to you.
That's it for Cronkite News tonight. Thank you for joining us. For top Arizona stories anytime, go to cronkitenews.azpbs.org. How does the millennial generation compare to other generations? We break down the stereotypes that millennials are flooded with, coming up next.